Hello, in this video we're going to talk about filler phrases that you can use when you want to agree or disagree with someone during a discussion, like in a business meeting or when you're talking with a friend in English. So if you remember from the last video, we talked about ways to introduce a new topic, a new point, and to state your arguments. Now we're going to talk about how to reply if someone else says something, whether you agree with them, if you agree with them very strongly, if you're kind of neutral, you partially agree with them, if you disagree with them, or if you very strongly disagree with them. So what kind of things can you say? So remember that the purpose of the filler phrases is to give you something to say while you think about their point and formulate your own answer. So the very first thing you can say here, if you strongly agree with someone, let's say that you don't like being around people who smoke, and someone says that smoking should be banned everywhere. All right, you can say, absolutely, absolutely, I agree with you 100%. Absolutely. Remember the movie Mr. Popper's Penguins? With Jim Carrey, he's got all those penguins in his apartment. And one of the phrases that he says a lot is, yeah, absolutely. So another one you can use is, I totally agree with you. So you can say, I absolutely agree with you, or I totally agree with you. I agree with you 100%. So you completely agree 100%. You agree with whatever your friend just said. If it's a general agreement, it's not 100%, but in general, you think they're right, you can say, yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. I do believe that is correct. Or, yes, you're right. In general, I think that, smoking should be banned, but, and then you can say something that, a specific instant where you might open an exception, right, to that rule. So you could also say, I agree. I agree with you. Yes, I agree with you. I completely agree, right? So here, it's just the variation in how strongly you agree with them. So if you absolutely agree, you totally agree, you can add in an adverb to show that you really do. And here, yeah, I agree. I think you're correct. And the third one, I'd go along with that. Right? I'd go along with that. If you passed a law to ban smoking everywhere, I'd go along with that. I agree with you. I think it's bad for people's health in general. If someone wants to smoke, they can smoke, in a specific place or at their own house or outside, but not around other people. So here you're agreeing with them as well. Now what happens if you partially agree, but you're not, let's say you're kind of 50-50, like you're not totally sure that you agree with them. So you could say, I agree up to a point. Like, yeah, I agree up to a point, but I don't think it's as big of an issue as everyone makes about it, right? I think it's, how do you say it? Bothers some people, their allergies, but I don't think it's a big health issue. I think, there should be certain points where, I just noticed a mistake here. Let me erase that. Agree, right? So I agree up to a point. So you're up to a point, but, and then you continue on explaining why you don't agree 100%. That might be true, but, so you say, that might be true. So your friend says, people shouldn't be allowed to smoke, cigarettes should be banned. Then you say, that might be true, it is bad for people's health, but, and then, people like it, they've been doing it for years and years, and then you explain your other points. You're right to a certain extent. Like, yeah, you're right to a certain extent. It probably is bad for their health, but if they want to do it, they want to spend their money on it, then, let them do their thing. So here you partially agree, but not completely, not wholeheartedly, not 100%. If you disagree, if you don't like what they said, you don't believe it's true, then you could say, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. You don't want to confront them. You don't want to, be rude or come across very strongly. You want to be a good politician and say, well, I'm not so sure about that. I think that, people should be allowed to smoke. Maybe you're a smoker and you want to be allowed to smoke everywhere. You don't believe that smoking should be banned. So then you could say something like this. You don't want to confront people. They're your friends. You don't want to argue with them. You're entitled to your opinion, but I have mine, right? So I'm not sure about that. Or you could say, I'm afraid I don't really agree, right? So you're like, yeah, I think you're kind of crazy. You got a few screws loose in your head. And I don't totally agree. I'm afraid that I don't really agree. I don't think the same way that you do. So these are polite ways to tell someone that you don't agree with them and that you do disagree. Now, what if you really, really strongly disagree? Like, these people are crazy. What they're saying makes absolutely no sense. So you could say like, what? No way! Like, what? Are you crazy? You could also say, I don't agree. Another mistake there. I don't agree with you at all. So I don't agree with you at all. No way. I don't agree with you. You're wrong. If you want to be very confrontational, you're wrong. I don't agree with you at all. Or you could say, I absolutely disagree. Right up here, we used absolutely to mean that you do agree, but here you can use absolutely as an adverb to state that you strongly disagree, right? Say, I absolutely disagree with your point of view. I'm sorry, friend, you're wrong. I absolutely have to disagree with you. You could also say, you must be joking, right? You must be joking. Come on, are you serious? You gotta be kidding me. Are you joking? Are you joking? You must be joking. Okay, so these are ways that you can say that you very strongly do not agree with someone. So let's review. You repeat along with me. Absolutely. 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 I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. Yes, you're right. Yes, you are right. Yes, you're right. I agree. I agree. I agree. I'd go along with that. I'd from I would. I'd go along with that. I'd go along with that. I agree up to a point. I agree up to a point. I agree up to a point. That might be true, but that might be true, but. That might be true, but. You're right to a certain extent. You're, from you are, right to a certain extent. Certain. Sometimes that word gives English students troubles. So you can say certain or just certain. Certain. Kind of pause that T there. Certain extent. You're right to a certain extent. I'm not sure about that. I'm, from I am, not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. I'm afraid I don't really agree. I'm afraid I don't really agree. I'm afraid I don't really agree. No way. No way. No way. I don't agree with you at all. I don't agree with you at all. I don't agree with you at all. I absolutely disagree. I absolutely disagree. I absolutely disagree. You must be joking. You must be joking. Come on, you must be joking. Okay, so there are some phrases for you to agree and disagree with people in a discussion. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, some feedback below. If you have other phrases that you'd like to include and share with other people who are watching the videos as well, feel free to include them also. So I'm going to add some phrases below, and you can say whether you agree or disagree and how strongly with your replies, okay? So let's give you some topics to think about here. Outsourcing is good for businesses. Outsourcing is good for businesses. How would you reply if someone said that outsourcing is good for businesses? Let's see. The best way to learn a language is to live where it is spoken. The best way to learn a language is to live where it is spoken. Do you agree or disagree? And why? So you can leave a comment about those. You can never trust a salesman. All salesmen are liars. Okay? Do you agree or disagree? All salesmen are liars. You can never trust a salesman. How do you feel about that? Let's do a more neutral one. It's easier to speak English on the phone than face to face. It's easier to speak English on the phone than face to face. How do you agree or disagree with that phrase? Spam is irritating. All right? I don't know if that's very neutral, but maybe some people like receiving spam, right? Spam is irritating. So if your friend says spam is irritating, how would you reply? And one more. You should never mix business with pleasure. If your friend makes this statement, you should never mix business with pleasure. How would you reply? Would you agree or disagree? Should people working have fun or not? So there you go, guys. Some ways to express yourself, some potential topics that you could talk about. If you have a speaking partner, go ahead and discuss these topics with them. All right, so y'all have a good day. We'll catch you in the next video, and bye-bye.